Welcome back to another Las Vegas Raiders news review podcast. I am Jason Smith, aka The Knight. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. And thank you, man, for everybody who said it was nice to see me again and all the wonderful words and the people that liked the video and watched it. I mean, I really appreciate it. It really was an impromptu moment. And we find ourselves here today getting ready to dive back into some Raider talk. And I want to focus in on the defense today. Primary focus being Maxx Crosby. Is he coming back? Is he going to sign an extension or do a modification to his already 2 years left that's on his contract with no guaranteed money? And what does that mean for the future of Maxx Crosby and the Las Vegas Raiders? That's going to be the primary focus. But I want to talk about the defense as a whole. And the best way to start that off is to address the biggest thing that I feel that Pete Carroll did and pick up where we left off, basically. And he was able to bring Patrick Graham back. That is so huge, guys. So huge. You know, we haven't had that moment yet. This defense hasn't had that big moment yet for Patrick Graham where we've dominated, for a whole season, right? There's been definitely spots of improvement. There's been definitely moments of greatness, and we really finished up AP's interim year really strong, and we had such high expectations for this Raiders defense, especially with the addition of Christian Wilkerson last year and Jack Jones coming back, hoping that he picked up where he left off. That there was the optimism was really high for this defense last season, and I'd be lying to say that my optimism wasn't high because I mean it definitely was, Mac. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a defense that I've been waiting for a long time. Injury plagued, didn't really happen, especially across that defensive line. We lost Marcus Epps. That's the first one I want to talk about today. Pretty significant injury. He's up there in age. The man did his job. He really came in and really was the communicator in the secondary. And I believe that he helped Trayvon Merrick take the next step, right? But Epps is to the point now where he's passed the torch on already. I don't see us paying Epps to come back. We have some depth on the roster. I mean, we need to sign some guys, and if we sign the right ones, we do have, something that I think we could build upon here. And so I don't really see us, attacking Marcus Epps and bringing him back. But that leads me right into Trayvon Merrick, and what do you do there, right? What do you do there? To be quite honest, it's really going to come down to dollar and cents. And I would love to sit here and tell you that I'm this mathematical guru and I know the salary cap, there's so much more to than just the number we see, right? It's been reported we're about 95 million right now. We could be looking upwards to around 105, 110 million. We really don't know. So let's be safe and call it 100 mil just to kind of be in the ballpark. And there's so much to a contract. We're not guaranteed just to have 100 million. You just write it all out, right? There's ways to kind of put front load contracts, back load contracts, loophole here, loophole there. That's pretty much what we did with Maxx Crosby. And that's how Maxx Crosby finds himself with 2 years left on his contract without any guaranteed money. So, there's ways to manipulate a contract to make things work. And you could make that 100 million stretch just a little bit more, but you have to be wise. So Trayvon Merrick is one of those guys that are just, we'll see what his price tag truly is, right? I mean, is he a $12 million guy, $15 million guy, $20 million guy? Should you franchise tag him? I'm not a big fan of the franchise tag myself, and neither are the players, and I don't blame them. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd love to see Merrick back, but I'm okay if we did. I think I'd rather sign Palomar. That's the guy that I would like to see come back. We got a guy, I believe, I may butcher his name, so forgive me, Sean Taylor or Taylor. I know it's a Taylor, right? It was the guy from last year who didn't get a lot of opportunity last year, but he looked really promising. But I think with Palomalu, I think we'd be lined up pretty good. We could always pick up another older guy to come in the back end of things. But I would love Trayvon Merrick. I think the more that we bring back on defense is going to be better for this Raiders defense this year, primarily because, well, it was supposed to be our strength last year, right? And I'd rather go young on offense, and I'd rather solidify this defense with Patrick Graham, who knows the players. These guys know his system. There'll definitely be tweaks to his system, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. As long as Patrick Graham comes in with an open mind, willing to learn a little something new, the basis of his defense can maintain. And, he listens to Pete Carroll, tweak it a little bit, but the players will be able to adapt, right? So, it brings us to Robert Spillane. Robert Spillane is another one of those guys. To me, that is a necessary re-sign. And I'm going to be honest with you. He's priority number 2 on the list. And just because, there's an opportunity here for Spillane to sign before Crosby, but Spillane is still the number 2 guy on the list. His contract may be more straightforward than Crosby's, but it's a Patrick Graham favorite. Him and Patrick Graham are really, really close. And I see Patrick Graham being like, hey, this is a guy I need back. Spillane's my dude. I need him here. He knows my defense. The guy is just remarkable. He's a good tackler. He's strong. He's tough. He showed that he could cover a little bit. He may not be the best at it, but he gets the job done. He finds himself in the right spot every year to get a couple picks a year. I love Spillane, right? Diablo, I'm ready to move on. I think we can bring him back cheap, but again, your best ability is availability, and that dude's just not available enough for me. I'd rather see us put the money somewhere else. But I just wanted to run through that real quick. But I think the biggest key, because this is a copycat league, right? And everybody's talking about Philly in their trenches, offensively and defensively. Everybody's talking about that's the key to beat the Chiefs. So, of course, everybody's honed in on that. Come on, guys. This is not breaking news. This is not something that anybody really should be overwhelmed, shocked by. Like, defensive lines, offensive lines have been the key to every football team for years. I've heard this since I was little. I've heard my grandfather talk about it all starts in the trenches, right? Yes, we want the flashy players, right? We want the linebackers. We want the corners and safeties, and we want running backs, wide receivers, and quarterbacks. But really, it's the guys in the middle, the guys across the line that really make everything happen. It's the starting point. It's where the rubber meets the road, and everything opens up from there. It's either going to help your secondary lock down and get some interceptions and turnovers. And on the other end, it's going to allow your quarterback to make big plays down the field, or your running back to have the proper lane to make the big runs. Always in the trenches. Trenches are key. And we were supposed to have a damn good one last year too, right? We're supposed to have Wilkerson, supposed to have Butler, Crosby, Kuntz. That was supposed to be the lineup that was going to take us to the next level, right? Sprinkle a little Tyree Wilson in there, who has been underwhelming for sure. But again, I don't want to sit here. I told myself no more excuses, just going to be up front. Hey, I'm willing to give this guy the opportunity to develop just like Kuntz. And I know everybody's like going to be like, yeah, Knight, but this guy was a first round pick. Okay, it's not his fault that the last regime, or technically the regime before, picked him where they picked him. It is what it is. I'm over it. I don't care where he was picked. Now he has to develop. He's under contract. He's affordable. And he's shown flashes of having the ability to get the job done. So he's still part of this football team. It's the one guarantee that we know that he could be with Christian Wilkerson. And we know that that's the core right now, what we're working with. Wilkerson, Wilson. That's what we got. Everything else we got to solidify. Kuntz is one of those guys that, a lot of people are kind of, they're trying to hit and miss. They're like, hey, maybe we should sign him. Maybe we shouldn't sign him. What kind of deal should he get? Should it be a 1-year prove-it deal? Should it be just a short-term 2-year deal? Whatever Kuntz is willing to sign, I think it's key. I think we need to make another run at what was supposed to be last year. And Kuntz is one of those guys I want back. Clavion Chason's another guy I thought showed great flashes. He showed, especially when it came to passing downs, I say give him a run too. I know Snowden. I know a lot of people have some issues. Look, we all make mistakes. Let bygones be bygones. I don't care what they do. We need depth. We need a defensive line. So I'm here for it. I really think that the more that we can bring back from last year, especially in key positions like defensive line, I think that's going to go well for the Raiders. You could always look to upgrade it in the draft too if the opportunity presents itself. We'll definitely be going over a lot of draft stuff later. I know the combine's next week, but we have the opportunity to get guaranteed players that can really change the direction of how we play in the secondary and how we get to the quarterback. This is a group that's already proven they can get to Mahomes and cause some havoc. We have the formula. AP was trying to put this together. AP and Patrick Graham was trying to put this formula together. Not only did we beat the Chiefs on Christmas a year ago, or a little year and a half ago, however you want to call it now, but we dang near beat them twice, or had an opportunity to beat them twice this year. The formula, especially from a defensive standpoint against the Kansas City Chiefs, is something that Patrick Graham understands. So I would say, sell the farm. But what I really, really want to focus in on, without making this one too long, is Maxx Crosby. And man, so much talk. Max likes to put it out there, man. Max, he got a podcast. He's very open. He's very transparent. He doesn't try to hide. He doesn't pull no punches. And, Max is one of those dudes. I mean, I've heard people say, hey, you smoke cigars with Mark, why you have to air it out? Just tell Mark to get it done. Why would you put it out there? Why would you take the opportunity to talk about it on your own podcast? Why do you go on these other shows and these other podcasts and talk about it? Because it's a business and you generate attention. You get people talking. You get people wondering, is Max available? You start getting people to call. It generates a buzz. It raises the price. It puts the pressure on the Raiders organization to figure out exactly what it is that they're going to do to get Maxx Crosby to sign. And I believe Max ain't going to try to break the bank with us. The dude wants some guaranteed money, and he deserves it. He's the heart and soul of this football team, literally. And when it comes to everything that we've heard about Compete Pete, he is the ideal guy, especially for this defense, to set that tone. He's already does it anyway. He's key for this year. He's key to, you have to bring Max back. I'm just going to be honest with you. It makes the most sense. This wouldn't be the year to trade Maxx Crosby. I said yesterday before I ended the last podcast that Max was the key not only to this season, but Max was the key to possibly the next season in the future of the Las Vegas Raiders. And what I meant by that was we're trying to set new culture. We're trying to get something going again here this year. It could turn around quickly, especially with a really strong defense. Definitely a lot of work that needs to be done on the offense, in my opinion, but Max is where it starts. And Max is one of those players that's going to draw attention. People are going to want him, whether it's right now, whether it's before the trade deadline next year, or in free agency next year. People will want Maxx Crosby. This is not the time. We are sitting at pick number 6 in the draft. Right? If it's something that we need to make a move up to get, and we feel like we need to do that this year, we could do that. We don't need Maxx Crosby. There's nothing in front of us, in the 5 picks in front of us right now in the draft. There is nothing that we need to sell capital or to gain capital with Maxx Crosby. This is not the time, period. Pay the man. And it doesn't matter what we pay him. Anybody will be willing to take it on at any time that we're ready to move on from Max. And I know what people are saying, what do you mean? Well, what I mean is if we sign Max, which I know we want to do, and I do believe that Max wants to be here, you pay the man, you give him some guaranteed money, and the respect is on the table, right? Hey, man, we are going to do everything we can to make you a winner. We're going to win football games. We're going to have playoff games. We're going to go for a championship. And if it gets to the point where 2 things happen, the wheels on the bus fall off again, or we're just not that team that's ready yet, because the other thing that we need right now, we're hunting for, and we're going to talk about it Monday, is the quarterback position, right? There's nothing out there right now, guys. And we'll get into more deeper on that Monday. Doesn't mean we're not going to find our future quarterback in the draft this year. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, when it comes to trading up a big deal, I don't feel like we're in that situation right now, nor should we feel that way. So here's the bottom line. I'll wrap this up instead of drawing this out too long for you guys. Pay Max. If everything's looking really bad, we could trade him by the trade deadline, gain the draft capital we're seeking to go into the draft next year and have the opportunity to add more pieces to this team, Maybe it's the actual capital we're going to need to really move up and position ourselves for the best quarterback in the draft next year or in the future, and start thinking long term instead of always thinking so short term. I get it. This is a desperate franchise. We're a desperate fan base, but we're not going to win and sustain everything if we continue to go down this rabbit hole of, man, just sell it out, sell it, and putting things in pieces, square pegs and round holes. It's not going to work. And if Max is unhappy, then Max is unhappy. And if there's anything I've learned about the NFL and this new era of football, is nothing is guaranteed, man. It's not like back in the old days when you had your dude and your dude was here. The Tim Brown days, they're over. They're over. Tim Brown was the last Raider that was able to pour it all in his whole career as a Raider. And we're never going to see it that way again. It's just the way it is. I mean, I don't want to say never, but I mean, look how many times it happens. I mean, Matthew Stafford's on a second team. You got Aaron Rodgers playing for the Jets, maybe looking for another place, a lot like Brett Favre had to do, right? Tom Brady went and won a Super Bowl in Tampa. You know, he didn't end. You would think a guy like that would have ended his career as a Patriot. So it don't matter how good you are, how great you are, or what your potential is, you tend to move on at some point anyway. And if he's unhappy and we're trying to build a culture and really do something with this football team, he could be the catalyst piece that puts us in a position to do that. We have to trust. Like everything that I'm thinking about right now, and we talked about it yesterday, was it starts with this new foundation that we've laid, right? With Tom Brady, with Spy Tech, with Carroll, Graham, and Kelly. That is the pecking order right now. At least the way that I look at it, to say this there has to be an understanding of what type of players you want, players that you can get, making good contracts, not getting into salary cap hell, and just making sure, knowing, hey, this might not be what we want to do, but it's what's best for the organization long term. So that's what I'm saying. And I don't feel like right now is the time to let Maxx Crosby walk. Right now is the time to be like, go all in. He's key to making a quick turnaround. You got to try to make a quick turnaround. There's some really good football players on this football team, on both sides of the ball, by the way. I mean, a lot has to happen for lightning to strike, but I do believe anything's possible. So I believe that Max is someone that you have to bring into the mix. It's there. And at some point in the season or next off season, if you feel like, man, because I mean, come on, man, it's easier to find a pass rusher than it is a franchise quarterback. I'm just going to say it, right? And everybody's telling us right now that franchise guy, that guaranteed franchise guy is not in this draft. Do I believe that? No, I actually don't. I feel like one of these quarterbacks, don't know which one, maybe even two of them, might be a guy that's a fit on any team, let alone the Raiders. It has to be the right player, right system, right opportunities, the pieces. We talk about it all the time. Chip Kelly even mentioned it, right? So we definitely have no choice but to see if we could find that guy this year. But in the case that we don't, Max is still our best piece. Either we make him a Raider and keep him, or if push comes to shove, then we have a guy. It's an investment. It's an investment with interest, right? He's still young enough. He's still dominating enough. You pay the dude, and you just make sure the contract is set up for both him to be victorious and us to be victorious, whether he's Raider till he dies, or we need to move on and we do it in a way where we get enough capital to build more power on this football team. Anyway, that's all I really got today. Just trying to get back into the flow, man. I haven't had the opportunity yet to kind of really sit down and put a full show together the way I want to. I'm just knocking off the rust. What a better time than before everything really kicks off. I mean, a lot of stuff I'm talking about, you guys have been hearing for months. The quarterback conversation we're going to have Monday is probably going to be more planned out. It'll be my first attempt at running through this new way of doing things that I'm going to attempt. Want to tune in for that. There's some scenarios I'm putting together of options that I think that could be beneficial for the Raiders, in my opinion, by the way, not by fact. And one of these days, I mean, we'll have plenty of off season time to come up with some stupid content and just kind of talk philosophies and in belief systems and what we really do around here on the Las Vegas Raiders News Review. But man, it feels good to talk Raider football again. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, hit that like button, do all the bells and whistles, man. I'm really, really trying to help a lot of blind kids right now. For those of you who don't know, I'm legally blind. So it's something that's really close and dear to my heart. I've had a mentor program now for over a year. I'm getting ready to meet with them Saturday. We're going to have the kids over. So I'll probably post some pictures up on one of the podcasts next week to kind of let you know what I'm doing. I'm really trying to raise some money, man, and kind of have more chances for these kids to go do more stuff. And I'll let you see some of the things that we've been doing over the summer and things like that. But it's a passion project, big heart passion project of mine. So I just really appreciate all your guys' support. See, I'm rusty, man. I'm all over the place. But man, just by watching these videos, hitting that like button, subscribe button, notification, all that good stuff, man, leave a comment, help the algorithm out. That's all I really ask for. I'm not asking for money, just asking for some support and love like you guys have done for years now. I really appreciate you guys. I will see you guys Monday. And until then, stay Raider strong.